I'm Forrest Gump.
Yes, you got it right. In this video, we are going to talk about Forrest Gump, a boy who couldn't walk, but that didn't stop him from running his way into our hearts. From the football field to the battlefield and everything in between, Forrest has lived a life that most of us could only dream of. So, lace up your running shoes, have a box of chocolates, and let's take a look back at his incredible story, filled with laughter, tears, and plenty of unforgettable moments. The story begins in the year 1981 in Savannah, Georgia. A feather gracefully lands at Forrest Gump's feet. But this is no ordinary feather, it's a poignant symbol of the extraordinary journey Forrest has been on. Sitting beside a stranger, Forrest opens up about his life, inspired by his mother's wise words that life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. He starts by talking about the importance of shoes, how they reveal a person's past and future, and memories of his first pair of shoes come flooding back. Flashback to 1956, where a young Forrest begins his journey with shoes. Born with a curved spine, he wears leg braces, but that doesn't stop him from living life to the fullest. He lives in the small town of Greenbow, Alabama, with his mother, named after the controversial Civil War hero, General Nathan Bedford Forrest, who once led the Ku Klux Klan. Despite his low IQ of 75, which prohibits him from attending regular schools, his mother's unwavering encouragement allows him to enroll in a local school. But life is tough, and to make ends meet, his mother rents out spare rooms in their home, with a revolving door of tenants who come and go. Among them is a young Elvis Presley who strums his guitar for Forrest's delight, and they move to the music with some jerky dance moves. One night, while passing by a TV store, they spot Elvis performing the same moves on national television, and they can't believe their eyes. On Forrest's first day of school, he meets Jenny Curran, a girl he remembers to this day as the most beautiful thing he's ever seen.
Are you stupid or something?
And his only friend. Forrest and Jenny become inseparable, spending countless hours together, with Jenny often taking Forrest on adventures. Despite her love for Forrest, Jenny is running from something, and she doesn't want to go home. But when a group of bullies on bikes starts tormenting Forrest, Jenny tells him to run.
Run, Forrest, run!
As he runs, his leg braces break apart, and he discovers a newfound talent running like the wind. One day, Forrest notices that his best friend Jenny is absent from school. Concerned for her well-being, he goes to her home and discovers the harsh reality of her abusive father. With the police intervening and taking Jenny away from her home to live with her grandmother, who lives closer to Forrest's home. This news brings Forrest immense joy as he can now spend more time with his best friend. At times, when Jenny feels scared, she sneaks out of her house in the middle of the night to stay with Forrest. Forrest's running skills are soon recognized when he inadvertently runs through a football field during a game. Coach Bear Bryant spots him.
Who in the hell is that?
That there's Forrest Gump.
And offers him a football scholarship to the University of Alabama, where he becomes a star player known for his swift moves on the field. But his college life is not just about football. He witnesses a historic moment when Governor George Wallace tries to block the enrollment of 2 African-American students. Despite Wallace's opposition, President John F. Kennedy intervenes, and the students are allowed to register. Forrest is there, and he notices one of the students, Vivian Malone Jones, drop her books. Without hesitation, he picks the book up and returns it to her, marking a significant moment in Forrest's life. Forrest's love for Jenny continues to grow, but he faces a setback when he sees her in a car with a boy, getting intimate in the pouring rain. From outside the car, Forrest can hear Jenny's discomfort. He rushes to the car and punches the boy a few times, which makes Jenny upset. Despite their argument, Forrest tries to make things better by presenting her with some chocolates. During their time together, Jenny asks Forrest a deep question: what he wants to be in the future. Forrest simply responds that he just wants to be himself, while Jenny reveals her own aspirations of becoming a famous singer like Joan Baez. Soon, things take a romantic turn between Forrest and Jenny as they have an awkward physical encounter. As Forrest's college days come to an end, he doesn't even realize it's over as he's so focused on the sport. His skills on the field earn him a spot on the prestigious All-American team and even a meeting with President John F. Kennedy. However, things take an unexpected turn when Forrest drinks 15 Dr. Peppers, causing him to feel quite uncomfortable during his meeting with the president. As he tries to speak, all he can manage is a desperate request to use the restroom. It's 1966, and Forrest has just graduated from college. He enlists in the U.S. Army. On his very first day, he meets a fellow soldier named Benjamin Buford Blue, also known as Bubba. Instead of introducing himself, Bubba immediately starts talking about shrimp and tells Forrest that he knows everything about the shrimp business because he worked on his uncle's shrimp catching boat. After enlisting in the Army, Forrest quickly learns that he can fit in by simply keeping his bed tidy and always answering to the drill sergeant with "Yes, drill sergeant!" He even breaks the company record for assembling a gun and earns praise from his sergeant. However, Bubba continues to talk about his passion for the shrimp business, even while polishing his boots and cleaning the floors. At night, Forrest misses his mama and Jenny. His buddy hands him a Playboy magazine, revealing that Jenny was kicked out of college. He tracks her down and discovers that she's performing at a strip club, singing and playing guitar while completely naked. He confronts Jenny about it, but Jenny is upset with his behavior. Forrest reveals to Jenny that he is being sent to Vietnam. Jenny tells him to run whenever he feels he is in trouble, to which he simply responds with a simple okay. Before leaving for Vietnam, Forrest meets his mom, to which she expresses her worry and concern and tell him to come back to her soon. In 1967, Forrest and Bubba are deployed to Vietnam with the 9th Infantry Division. They meet Lieutenant Dan Taylor and start their patrols in tough weather conditions. Forrest writes letters to Jenny, but they go unanswered. Their routine operations come to a devastating end when their platoon is ambushed on patrol, and many of their comrades are killed in action. Lieutenant Dan orders a retreat, and Bubba urges Forrest to run. Forrest starts running back, dodging bullets and fires. Soon, he realizes that he left Bubba behind and goes back to save him. He returns to find an injured soldier named Tex, whom he carries to safety. Forrest saves a few more before stumbling upon Lieutenant Dan, who resists his help. However, Forrest insists on carrying him to safety. He eventually locates Bubba, injured and dying, and carries him to safety, where he tells Forrest that he wants to go home before passing away. In the midst of the chaos, Forrest doesn't even realize that he has been shot in the buttocks. Forrest is sent to a military hospital to recover. While there, he is placed beside Lieutenant Dan, who has lost his legs in combat and is struggling with his injuries. Surprisingly, he receives a bunch of letters that was sent by Jenny. One day, one of Forrest's buddies shows him how to play ping pong, and Forrest discovers that he has a natural talent for the game. He begins practicing tirelessly, even when no one else is around to play with him. His dedication pays off, and he becomes a skilled player in no time. On night, Lieutenant Dan confronts him, revealing that he is bitter about being saved and losing his legs. He feels like a legless freak and wishes he had died in battle like his ancestors. Despite Dan's anger, Forrest stays calm. As Forrest recovers, he is informed that he will be awarded the Medal of Honor for his heroic actions in battle. When he comes to share the news with Lieutenant Dan, he finds that Dan has been sent home. At the ceremony where he is awarded the medal, Forrest's mother is present at the ceremony and is beaming with pride at her son's accomplishments. President Lyndon B. Johnson awards him the medal and smirkly asks Forrest to show him where he was shot. Forrest pulls down his pants to reveal the bullet wound on his buttocks. As he walks around the Capitol when he stumbles upon an anti-war protest at the Pentagon, he unknowingly joins the queue to the stage and meets Abby Hoffman, a famous activist who invites him to share his experience of war. However, As soon as he starts speaking, someone disconnects the speaker, and he continues his speech. As his speech is over, Jenny calls out to him from the crowd, and he leaves the stage to reunite with her. As they catch up, Jenny introduces Forrest to the Black Panther group, but his interaction with the group is short-lived when Jenny's abusive boyfriend hits Jenny, and Forrest retaliates. They decide to leave the group and spend the rest of the night walking and talking about their lives. Jenny shares her story with Forrest, revealing her struggles with drugs and how she has become a hippie. They talk for the whole night, and as morning comes, Jenny leaves with the group, saying goodbye to Forrest. Forrest's ping-pong skills take him on a journey he never expected. He competes against the Chinese in ping-pong diplomacy and becomes a celebrity. As his fame grows, he gets an opportunity to appear on the Dick Cavett Show, alongside John Lennon. As the year draws to a close, Forrest runs into Lieutenant Dan on New Year's Eve. Sadly, Lieutenant Dan has become an alcoholic and is still resentful of his disability and the government's treatment of Vietnam War veterans. After the party, they return to their room with 2 prostitutes. However, Forrest declines their advances due to his unwavering love for Jenny. The girls become enraged and start insulting Forrest, prompting Lieutenant Dan to kick them out of the room. Forrest's ping-pong success lands him a meeting with President Nixon, and he is given a room in the Watergate complex. Little did he know that he would inadvertently expose the Watergate scandal. It's 1974, and Forrest has been honorably discharged from the Army. Back in Greenbow, he endorses a ping-pong paddle company, using the profits to buy a shrimping boat in Bayou La Batre, fulfilling his promise to Bubba. Lieutenant Dan joins Forrest, and they struggle at first. However, when their boat becomes the only one to survive Hurricane Carmen, they manage to catch an enormous amount of shrimp, creating the profitable Bubba Gump Shrimp Company. Lieutenant Dan finally thanks Forrest for saving his life. He invests his money in early tech companies, Apple, but Forrest mistakes it for a fruit company. The two become millionaires, and Forrest gives half of his earnings to Bubba's family as a tribute to their inspiration for the shrimping venture. Forrest returns home to take care of his mother, who is terminally ill from cancer. After she passes away, Forrest spends most of his time volunteering as a gardener at the University of Alabama. It's his way of finding peace and meaning in his life. It's been 10 years since Forrest last saw Jenny, and in 1976, she returns to him. Together, they visit Jenny's old home, which is now abandoned, and Jenny vents her anger by throwing rocks at the house. Forrest takes the opportunity to propose to her, but she turns him down, leaving him heartbroken. Despite this, they spend the night together, and in the morning, she leaves. In despair, Forrest starts running with no particular destination in mind. He keeps running day after day, and soon gains a following of people who are inspired by his journey. Along the way, he inspires struggling businessmen who see him as a symbol of perseverance and hope. Forrest becomes famous for his running feat, and his journey takes him across the country and through all sorts of terrain. Despite the challenges he faces, Forrest continues to run until he decides to stop after 3 years and 2.5 months. His followers are surprised to see him return to Greenbow. After years of being apart, Forrest finally receives a letter from Jenny asking to visit him. That is why Forrest is here at the bus stop. The old lady, sitting beside him, informs him that Jenny's address is only a few blocks away. Without hesitation, Forrest rushes off to see her. He finally reaches her home. Jenny introduces him to her young son, Forrest Gump, Jr. The boy's resemblance to Forrest is uncanny, and Jenny finally reveals the truth: Forrest is his father. Initially stunned, Forrest quickly warms up to the idea of being a dad. As they spend time together, Forrest and Forrest Jr. form a special bond. Sadly, Jenny is not well, and her condition worsens. She tells Forrest she has a virus that the doctors can't cure, and the three of them move back to Greenbow. Finally, Forrest and Jenny tie the knot, surrounded by loved ones, including Lieutenant Dan who's now engaged to a woman named Susan and walking on titanium alloy prosthetics. A year later, Jenny passes away, leaving Forrest heartbroken. But he finds solace in being a devoted and loving father to Forrest Jr. The two share many adventures, playing ping pong, fishing, and exploring the world together. In an effort to let go of the past, Forrest buys the land that belonged to Jenny's father and has the house demolished. He wants to start fresh and create new memories with his son. Finally, the day comes when Forrest Jr. starts school, and Forrest is there to see him off. The journey of Forrest Gump and the white feather has come full circle, and he's grateful for all the experiences that have made him who he is today. As always, we want to hear from you, so be sure to share your thoughts in the comments section below. And if you haven't already, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget